In this episode of Home Theater Geeks, I answer a question from listener Daniel, who wants some turntable recommendations. So stay tuned.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hey there, Scott Wilkinson here, the Home Theater Geek. In this episode, I answer a question from Daniel, who writes, "Do you have any suggestions for a not terribly expensive turntable? I have received some albums from a friend who has a band. I bought a $150 CD/record player on Amazon. It sounds okay with CDs, but for some reason it sounds terrible with records, faded and tinny. I remember having toy record players that sounded better. I tried hooking it up to my soundbar, and the records still have a poor sound. Before I try another player, I thought maybe you might have better suggestions for where or what to look for." Well, Daniel, this is a great question. Now, I will say up front that I am not a big fan of vinyl records or turntables. I much prefer digital audio. And I know there are a lot of audiophiles out there who think that vinyl records are the end-all and be-all of sound, and they sound better than CDs and other forms of digital audio. But I'm not a big fan. Still, I know something about them, and I thought I would help you. Although I'll first say that one of the reasons that I'm not a fan is partly because of the quality of playback. It's so variable. It depends on the quality of the stylus or needle, the tone arm, the turntable drive system, also clicks and pops and noise on the record that are inevitable, as well as limited dynamic range. So those are a few of the reasons I'm not a big fan. And yet many people prefer the sound of vinyl, and they often spend inordinate amount of money on turntables, which is another reason I'm not a big fan. I don't want to spend that much money. Now, I think it's possible to get a reasonably good sound without mortgaging your house. Now, unfortunately, you don't say exactly what you mean by not terribly expensive. So I'm going to offer some recommendations well under $1,000. I think you're going to have to spend more than $150, though. Maybe not much more, though. We'll see. So I started by consulting some of my trusted sources for their best turntables lists. And those include Wirecutter. And I'm going to put all these links in the show notes, by the way, so you should be able to see them and link to them from there. So I like Wirecutter. I like CNET. They're very reliable. Digital Trends had a really nice one. I often go to them as well. And Wired had a list of their best turntables. All of these are from 2025. And some common models emerged, which I thought was very interesting. The company called Audio Technica has been around for decades, for a very long time. I have some of their microphones, but they're also really well known for turntables. And they have a bunch that would be appropriate. I think the least expensive I found was the AT LP60X. Which is $199. So that's close to your $150. It's getting down there within $50. So that would be one to look at. And that has appeared on a number of best turntable lists. There's the AT-LP60XBT for $300. That's got Bluetooth in it, so you can send Bluetooth to Bluetooth speakers and hear it that way. There's the AT-LP60X BT-USB for $350, and that one has Bluetooth and USB, which lets you take it digitizes the signal from the LP, from the record, and sends it digitally into a computer. So you can digitize records using that turntable. Other models from Audio-Technica were the LP70X for $279 and the LP120X USB for $445. That one also has USB output. Another company that was well regarded in a lot of lists is called Project, Project. They have the T1 for $399 and the debut Carbon Evo, which was very highly regarded in a bunch of lists, for $550. So those are certainly worth considering as well. The other company I want to draw your attention to is Fluance, F-L-U-A-N-C-E, Canadian company. I have a pair of their Bluetooth speakers, which are wonderful. They really sound great. So I would assume that their turntables are pretty good too. And they have a whole range as well. The ones that showed up on these best lists include the RT82 for $350 and the RT85 for $550. Now that one does not have a built-in preamp. And I'm going to talk to you about preamps here in a second. Generally speaking, though, the higher the price, the better the cartridge, which includes the stylus or the needle. It also will have more features like Bluetooth and USB. So, if you need any of those features, then you want to look for them in the particular models that you're looking for.
Hey everybody, it's Leo Laporte. You know about MacBreak Weekly, right? You don't? Oh, if you're a Macintosh fan or you just want to keep up what's going on with Apple, this is the show for you. Every Tuesday, Andy Anako, Alex Lindsay, Jason Snell, and I get together and talk about the week's Apple news. It's an easy subscription. Just go to your favorite podcast client and search for MacBreak Weekly or visit our website, twit.tv/MBW. You don't want to miss a week of MacBreak Weekly.
Now, most of these turntables that I've talked about are what are called belt drive. So there's an elastic belt that goes around the platter, which you put the record on, and then it goes around a much smaller spindle, which has the which is attached to the motor. And as the motor spins, the belt moves the platter, and that works fine. But that belt can wear out and needs to be replaced once in a while. So you have to keep that in mind. More expensive turntables are often what are called direct drive. So they don't have a belt, but the motor sits under the platter itself and moves the platter directly. This is generally a more expensive thing. Now, some of these turntables are automatic. So you put the record on and you hit go and it automatically moves the tone arm over and sets it down, which is fine for most people, but audiophiles prefer a manual turntable generally, which means they have to pick up the tone arm and place it on the record. Like I said, that's more of an audiophile thing. Now, preamp. In addition to the turntable itself, you need a Phono preamp to connect the turntable to an audio system. Now, some turntables have a built-in preamp. Most of the Audio-Technica ones seem to have a built-in preamp. The ones I looked at certainly did, which means you can then take that output and connect it directly to a soundbar or another audio system with left and right analog cables. One of the reasons I suspect your turntable sounded poor when connecting it to the soundbar was maybe it didn't have a built-in preamp. Although the fact that it also played CDs implies that it maybe did. So I don't really know. In any event, whenever you have a turntable, you need a phono preamp because the turntable's electrical signal is not at the same level as that from a CD player or another what's called line level audio device. So it needs a preamp in order to boost that signal up to where it's the same level as other audio components. And as I said before, some turntables, like from Audio-Technica, have a built-in preamp. And in some cases, you can buy a turntable, but the preamp costs extra. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of that in a minute. Now, if you have an AV receiver with a special phono input, then the preamp is in the receiver. And you can connect your turntable without a preamp directly into the AV receiver, and it will act as the phono preamp. There aren't that many receivers anymore that are built with that, but I guess, I'm not 100% sure about that, because even if the receiver doesn't have a lot of analog inputs anymore, which most receivers don't, they might still have a phono input because a lot of audiophiles still like vinyl records and they still have turntables and they're going to want a phono input. So this is what I'm saying here. For you, I would look at the Audio-Technica turntables. They have good quality, reasonable price. Most are in the $200 to $500 range. There are some that are over that. They have built-in preamps, as far as I can tell. If you want to digitize your friend's records or any other record, you want to get one with USB. And I've included a link to the Audio-Technica page that has all their turntables, which go all the way up to $2,000, but I know you don't want to spend that much. I'd also look at the Fluence turntables, and I'll include in the show notes a link to their turntable page as well. They range in price from $250 to $550, so within a similar ballpark to the Audio-Technicas. Some have a built-in preamp. Others, Fluence gives you the option of buying a preamp for an extra $100. So you want to take that into account. I didn't see any on their website that had USB. So if that's important to you, to want to digitize vinyl records into a digital form, you're going to need to get one with a USB, and Fluence then might not be the best choice for you. Audio-Technica certainly does have models that do that. So that's probably the first place I'd look. Anyway, that's what I have to say about that. Good luck. Now, if you have a question for me, send it along to htg@twit.tv, and I'll answer as many as I can right here on the show. And as you know, all of TWiT's programs are available on YouTube for free, but with ads. If you want to go ad-free, join the club. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit and sign up today. Until next time, geek out.